Hello guys, it's Rick here, and today I'm going to Vietnam for about a week from Japan. I've never been to Vietnam before, and I'm very excited because there are numerous places of historical significance, and I heard the food is brilliant. I landed in Da Nang Airport, the area where my hotel was located, and I was very surprised to see these peacocks around. Unfortunately, I never got to see them spread their beautiful wings. However, the view more than made up for it. You might be wondering now, where is Da Nang? Well, Da Nang is the fourth largest city in Vietnam and is located in central Vietnam towards the coast, as you can see on the map. As the location is pretty far from the capital of Vietnam, Hanoi, we didn't get to go there. However, we got to go to Imperial City of Hue, Hoi An, and My Son. On the first day, we went to My Son Sanctuary. My Son is spelled as my son, and the area has a lot of Hinduism influence, as the Champa people from 4th to 14th century used this area to practice Hinduism faith. The area serves Shiva and Bhadreswara. I know I pronounced that wrong. Now, if you ever happen to go there, you may notice the 8 My Son temple complexes are located quite far from each other. One, yes, they did build it in the mountain, and it is over 142 hectares of area, so it is going to be quite a trek. However, the other cause for this is that out of the 70 buildings that were originally built, only 20 are left standing. Although various restoration processes have been able to rebuild and preserve these buildings to the best conditions possible, many of them have been unfortunately lost in the Vietnam War through the bombings as such. And you can also see various bullet marks on the walls of the buildings. Wars and influences from various other countries have been a key aspect of various locations I've visited in Vietnam, which has led to various fusions in cultures depending on the area of Vietnam you live in. And I found that very interesting throughout my trip. Such international influence could be had on Hoi An because it's a port city, so various countries' tradesmen could come in. But before we get into the history, I was feeling very hungry, so we went to have our lunch. It was a restaurant called Du Thuy Yang. Honestly, the thing about Vietnamese food is it's so cheap, but it's somehow still so good. Even this restaurant, which is relatively expensive for meals we paid in Vietnam, but it was still £10 per person. We ordered quite a lot of food as well, as you can see. If you go there, you have to try their white rose dumplings and the fried crabs. The crabs are very juicy, and the white rose dumplings, they're magnificent as well. After having finished this delicious meal, we went outside and we saw the Japanese bridge. The bridge was initially built to connect two residential areas together, and initially Chinese benefited from it due to where they lived. And later down the line, Japanese built a temple on the other side, hence the name Japanese Bridge came about. Architecturally, it has Chinese and Vietnamese element, as well as having a Japanese style. There was also a Japanese doll exhibition going on, which further highlights the strength of Japanese influence in this area. I was very surprised when one of the staff there spoke to me in Japanese, because I never really expected anyone to speak to me in Japanese in Vietnam. But it was a very nice surprise. The boards spoke about how Japan and Vietnam, more specifically this area and Nagasaki, has a very strong relationship with each other, because in 1619 there's marriage between a salesman from Nagasaki and Engyan dynasty's princess, and there was a red ship outside in the area, as you can see in the photo above, and the ship which took them back to Nagasaki together. The next day, we went to the Marble Mountains, which is located in Da Nang, the area where we are staying at. The view at the top of the mountains is phenomenal. However, the climb up can be quite a difficult challenge. Now, you can skip climbing up the mountain by going on an elevator. However, the worst part is going down the mountain. It's very easy to slip down the stairs due to the weird architectural nature of them. It's very difficult to explain, but if you go there, you'll see why you'd fall down them. There are 5 different mountains, each dedicated to different elements: metal, water, wood, fire, and earth, or in Vietnamese, Kim, Thuy, Mok, Hoa, and Tho. These buildings were built for Buddhists and Nguyen dynasty kings, and the area contains many different caves and contains different shrines and Buddhas within those caves. The most notable one is Hoi An. This one contained 2 shrines and 1 very large Buddha statue. After going back outside, we were able to see various other buildings and Buddha statues again, and I thought this dragon statue looked very cool. I would personally say it had about plus 10,000 aura to it. On the way down the mountain, we were able to listen to this beautiful monks singing. Next up is the Imperial City of Hue. It was the capital city of Vietnam from 1802 to 1945 under the Nguyen dynasty. It was constructed in 1804 under Emperor Gia Long. Consists of many various courts and gates with palaces, temples within. It served as an area whereby emperor, their family, and those who works for the emperor's family stayed at. Throughout this video, you may notice there's a lot of color yellow being used in the buildings. That is because the color yellow symbolizes the emperor in Vietnam. Of course, as this area serves for the emperor, the buildings and its interiors are often very beautiful and very well decorated. You can see the French influence upon the Imperial City of Hue through the plates they were using within the Imperial Palace. The setup for this dining is from the times when France colonized Vietnam. Talking of the French influence on Vietnam, the famous dish Bai Mi, the dish where there's a baguette with various vegetables and meat within, came about due to the French influence. There was also the Forbidden Purple City, which is exclusive to the imperial family only. Now, finally, but not the least, we're back in the city of Da Nang. This restaurant, in front of the hotel we stayed at, which was named the Frama Resort Hotel, was actually very nice. Although other restaurants around the area tended to have tourist prices, they did not, and they had a very good pho and Vietnamese pancake. Here in Da Nang, they have a very big bridge called the Dragon Bridge. On Saturdays and Sundays, at 9 at night, the dragon's mouth exerts fire out, and everybody, and I mean everybody, comes to watch this. It truly is an amazing sight, and you can really feel the heat, especially if you're on the bridge, but we felt it even from underneath the bridge. But fear not, after the fires, they do make sure to fire water out, and this does really help with cooling down the bridge and its surroundings. I couldn't help but notice that there was a crack in the bridge where the water was leaking out from. Now, the key thing to take notice of here is, look how crowded it gets afterwards. It's nearly impossible to find a taxi. Now, we miraculously managed to grab hold of one taxi and get back to our hotel in reasonable amount of time. But you're probably going to have to pay double of what you'd normally expect to pay. We also went to the night market in Da Nang, and as you can see, they had a lot of lobsters around. Now, to be honest, I was quite skeptical of how fresh they were, so I didn't get to try them. However, I did try the pork, and it was very good. Besides food, they had various items from anime figures, toys, plushies, and of course, fake branded goods. They were everywhere, from watches to clothes to bags, you name it. They were literally in any city. Initially, I thought this Spider-Man toy was a snake, and I was quite scared at the start. I've come back from Vietnam, and now I'm in Japan. I really enjoyed the Vietnam trip. The food is amazing, so is the people, and there's so much culture and history that you can learn about at the place. And I really wish to go to different areas like Hanoi another time, so I want to be able to go to Vietnam again. Now, before we end the video, I have some tips for anyone that wants to go to Vietnam. Firstly, make sure you have some cash on you. That is because various restaurants and shops do not take credit cards. And even if they do, they sometimes take 5 to 10% more if you process it by card in comparison to cash. So, one thing I would recommend doing is going to an airport before you leave. Well, what am I saying? Of course you go to the airport. Anyways, at the airport, exchange the money that you have on you at your home country, let's say pounds, and then change it into Vietnamese dong. I would recommend only exchanging about the amount you're going to use in Vietnam, because when you exchange it back from the Vietnamese dong into your home country's currency, the exchange rate is often quite worse. Now, in our case, it was very easy to exchange more money when we needed it on the go, because our hotel did some exchanges as well. But it would be very safe and a good idea to exchange some money at a hotel. Secondly, don't be on your phone when you're walking, especially when you're crossing the road. That's because even if the traffic signals say the pedestrians are allowed to walk, the bikes will sometimes keep shooting at you, and they never stop. The vehicles will never stop for you. It's almost like the pedestrians are not the priority, but rather the vehicles, and in most cases, bikes, because it seems like everyone rides bikes there. And thirdly, just eat, and eat. The food is cheap, it's delicious, and it's actually very low in calories, because it has a lot of vegetables in it. I think this is the first holiday in my experience where I came back from another country having lost weight. And I ate quite a lot of food. Trust me. So just keep eating. Like, there's no pressure on you to minimize your eating. Like, low calories, low cost. What more can you ask for? Well, it's delicious, right? And finally, here's a sneak peek into my next video. I bought this Japan's football kit, and this is going to be part of the vlog of talking about where to buy football kits in Japan, which I hope you tune into. And to make it easier for you to tune into that video, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and please leave a like and a comment down below. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.